So your body is still in shock. You still can't really believe that the person that you thought, the person that promised was going to love you forever, that you had already imagined your Christmases, your future years with, your retirement, your great plans, everything is just gone. The person that claimed to love you the most is now the one person that's confident that they don't want to be with you anymore. So it's kind of thrown you into this shock. And you've been waiting, not just waiting, but enduring the agony of an emotional pain that's so intense that it feels physically excruciating, hoping that if you do no contact the right way, that it's going to pull them back in. You heard about the 30 days, the 60 days, and the 90 days, and now you're watching that calendar like it's a countdown to the worst possible fate you can think of, that they're never coming back. That silence will just kind of magnify what's already overwhelming you. The things that are usually overwhelming you right now are fear and logic. You're kind of living in this contradiction. Number one, you believe your soul, your feelings, your gut instinct, it feels like the universe and fate itself is whispering in your ear and telling you they're not coming back. It's one of the things that I hear the most. I don't know how to tell you this. I just know they're not coming back. There's something that's just telling me I know this is it. And even though you know this is it, you've got this instinct to fight. So there's a contradiction there. Most people I talk to will say, I'm willing to do anything to win them back, even though I'm convinced it's hopeless. Well, if it was really hopeless, why are you willing to fight to do anything to get them back? But despite believing it's hopeless, in fact, because you think it's hopeless, there's this almost overwhelming compulsion to do whatever you need to do to get them back, especially if you've been doing no contact for a few weeks and you haven't seen the results that you want. Now you think you made a mistake. And the fact that they've been silent is reinforcing this trauma. It's reinforcing this desperate fear to try to get them back right now. Just take a deep breath and trust me when I tell you this. That silence, that gut instinct, that little voice in your head, that desperation compulsion that you're feeling, don't listen to it. Don't trust it. That silence doesn't mean they're not coming back. Now, truthfully, it can mean a few different things, but it's not nearly as hopeless as it feels like. You still have a real shot. It depends on the situation. Details matter. And what I'm going to tell you isn't false hope, even though I know I'm going to get comments in the section below that say, hey, if somebody leaves you, don't come back. If somebody leaves you, they're not coming back. I can tell you, I've literally seen people come back thousands of times, not just a few, not just a couple of dozen. I've seen it happen over and over again. The one thing 99% of the people have in common that actually get their ex back is that at multiple points during the breakup, they would tell you they're absolutely certain that they're not going to come back. They're certain of the same things that you're feeling right now. So don't trust your feeling. Don't trust what that voice is telling you. What I want to tell you is that silence is actually a good thing. What most people don't stop and realize. You can make that silence. You can make this time away from them, not getting any kind of signal, as scary as it's going to be. Embrace the fact that it's scary. You can embrace a feeling without acknowledging or trusting that it's telling you the truth. My mentor, Dr. Joe Beam, used to say, feelings are so powerful, they're so real, they convince you instinctively that they must be true because they're so strong. You can consciously decide not to trust what you feel and set it aside. Now actually let the silence work for you. Because the truth is, one of the major mistakes that people make after a breakup is they don't get silence. The person that broke up with them gives them a little bit of a breadcrumbing. They give them just a little bit of contact. What that contact does is keep you focused in on that person. So you accidentally become training wheels to help them learn to live life without you. They contact you just enough to know that if they decide to go back on their decision, if they decide to step back into the relationship, you're right there saying, let's work on this. You want some time? You want some space? I'll give it to you. You don't have to worry about losing me. I'm right here. The house and porch metaphor that I use is the one that says your relationship is like a house. When they break up with you, if you're the one that didn't want the breakup, emotionally, you're going to go outside the house, but it's like you're camping out on the porch. It's really hard to miss somebody that you haven't lost. It's really hard to miss somebody that keeps telling you, I'm right here. If you change your mind, I want to try this again. So the benefit of them going silent is that it gives you a chance to disconnect from them. Don't make the mistake of letting their silence trigger more fascination and hyperfixation on them. I haven't heard from them. I need to see what they're doing on Spotify. I need to see what they're doing on Venmo. I need to see what they're doing on Instagram. The more you stay locked in on them, the more difficult it's going to be for you to do the key things you need to win them back. One of the main things you need to do is disconnect from them. Right now, when they broke up with you, you're seeing yourself through their eyes. You're seeing yourself as somebody that's worthy of being rejected. You're seeing yourself as somebody who's unworthy of staying in the relationship. And part of what you're feeling right now is you're trying to reclaim that sense of value, that sense of peace by reconnecting to the relationship that made you feel broken. You actually have to disconnect, pull away, let the silence work for you, and start focusing on yourself. And I know how useless that sounds, but it's a really powerful technique. Like right now, you just got rejected by somebody you didn't expect to be rejected by. That's caused you instinctively to hyper-focus on them. Their worth just went up, and your sense of worth just went down. It's instinctive. You can't help it. You can get that same principle to work for you. If they know you didn't want to break up, then you probably chased, you probably tried to talk them out of it, you probably tried to convince them that it's worth one more shot because now you've realized all the things that they need, you've realized all the mistakes that you've made, so you've chased. The only good thing about that is that it's given them the expectation of your pursuit. If you go quiet now and match the silence that's so tormenting for you, if they're human, if they're not a psychopath, they're going to notice that lack of pursuit. We're wired to notice when somebody who gives us value stops giving us value. So even if you chased in the beginning, let the silence work for you. But you really have to discipline yourself. You have to remember, and this is especially true, it's been proven over and over again, the number one most attractive trait a man can possess, according to women, is a sense of dominance, a sense of strength. I don't mean that the man dominates the woman. I don't mean it in a sexist way. I mean women, according to women, are more attracted to a man who kind of presents an unshakable, strong, resilient, capable vibe. The problem is when you're in pain, that pain convinces you to be authentic, except now you're being an authentic version of you at your weakest, not an authentic version of you at your strongest. The pain will tell you to chase. The rejection of you will tell you to take a strong look at yourself and find out all the things that you got wrong. Come up with a list of all the ways you could be better and go convince them to come back to you. The problem is convincing is not attractive. Nobody's ever rekindled that spark of passion because they made a really good point. That's just not how it works. The more you desperately try to convince, the more you're accidentally lowering your worth. The more you're projecting that you're not resilient, that you're not dominant, that you're not capable, that you're not only not unshakable, you're quite shaken. And to you, it feels like honesty and it feels like authenticity because this is really how you feel. But again, you're projecting an honest version of yourself at your weakest, not the truest version of you at your strongest. So let the silence work for you. A lot of times, if they go completely quiet, it's because you've already drained the attraction so much by pursuit, or they found somebody else. If they found somebody else, your drama, your desperation, your panic is going to go through the ceiling and you're really going to want to fight for your ex. But the more you fight for your ex, if they found somebody else, the more you're accidentally romanticizing that new person. You're the thing that they have to overcome. By comparison, and it's not a fair fight, if they're in limerence with somebody brand new and they just broke up with you, their ego is being fed. Their ego is being built up by two separate sources. That's a very intoxicating position to be in. The more you chase, the more you're telling them how incredible they are, and the more them and their new person are going to talk about how you're their past. You're the stepping stone that they had to live through, that they had to experience to get to the person they're supposed to be with. And by you chasing, you're accidentally agreeing to play that role. You want to actually trigger a fear of loss and trust human instinct. Human instinct notices the person who stops fighting for our attention more than the person who's committed to endlessly chasing our attention. So let that work for you. Right now, you're experiencing that principle of trusting that somebody wants to be with you, and then they withdraw that affection. And it hurts. And it makes you re-examine the loss of that relationship. Let them feel the same principle that you're feeling right now. Maybe you've been chasing for the first week or the first 2 weeks, and then you went no contact. Maybe you haven't heard from them because they got so much reassurance from your pursuit after the breakup that they don't have to worry about making a mistake. You told them how much you wanted to be with them. You told them how you would always be here. You told them that if they ever changed their mind that they can reach out and tell you, and you'd be right there waiting for them. You gave them enough fuel and reassurance of your presence that they can't feel that fear of regret yet. But a consistent fear, a consistent thing that we all deal with is we don't want to make the mistake of walking away from the person who proves later to be the one that got away. We don't want to walk away from a person that we regret losing later on in life because they succeed, because they become a stronger, more thriving, more incredible version of the person they were when they were with us. You're making it impossible for your ex to see you in that light if you keep chasing. Don't watch the clock. I know about the 30, the 60, and the 90 days. The truth is, I've seen so many couples. I have seen more couples than I can count come back after the 3 months. especially if they got a massive amount of reassurance that you're always going to love them before they started going quiet. Let that silence work for you. Imagine that you're watching a romantic film, right? And it's a love story, and the two people break up. Like there's a movie called The Breakup with Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn. Towards the end of the movie, after they break up, the screen goes black, and it says something like 2 years later or something like that, or a year later, 6 months, something like that. As soon as that screen comes back up, everybody in the audience is thinking, I wonder where they are now. I wonder if they've changed. I wonder if this is a new version of them. Let the silence work for you. Use the silence as a chance to trigger that fear that walking away from you is going to represent the single biggest regret of their life. Maybe in that time apart, you've become a better version of you. You're in better shape. You're more focused. You're doing better at your work. You're doing better at your career. You look better. When they check out your social media profiles, and people miss this all the time, the dumper, because they're afraid that dumping you was a mistake, in time, 90% of the dumpers will look back at the person they walked away from because they're trying to validate that they made the right decision. Now imagine they look at your profile 4 or 5 months later and you look better and you're actually smiling and you're actually living a life. You're actually content. You're actually excelling at a life that looks even better than the one they walked away from. You think that doesn't actually make them regret or start to second guess the decision that they made? That silence also gives them a chance, if there is somebody new, to find the flaws in the new person. Limerence is magnified and it sticks longer with that new person if you're chasing them, trying to talk them out of that new relationship. It romanticizes it. So give them time in that new relationship, as painful as it sounds. Let them find the flaws, because reality never lives up to the fantasy. So stop reinforcing their fantasy by being the one that's trying to keep them apart and romanticizing their time together. Give them a chance to find out that there were things about you that they really missed. There were things about you that were really exceptional. There were aspects and parts of your personality and things that you did for them that this new person isn't actually doing. Give them a chance to miss you, framed from a position of resilience and strength. It's impossible to miss somebody who keeps telling you how lucky they are to have you and how grateful they would be if you ever gave them another chance. That's constantly boosting their ego and consistently lowering your own. Look at it this way. You want this time, as painful as it might seem. You actually want this time without them reaching out. So not only are you not so tempted to be fixated on them, but it gives you a chance to rebuild your self-worth. And no contact, you're reminding two people of what your real value is, of what your real worth is. One of them is your ex. The other one is you. No contact only works temporarily. It becomes a trap of push and pull. I won them back and they broke up with me again, and this back and forth. When you do no contact, but you're only doing it halfway. You only do it to the point that you're projecting and faking strength, but you don't really do it to the point that you're sincerely reminding yourself of your own value. If you're still in the mindset of thinking, my life will never be what it was meant to be if they don't come back, then you're not ready for them to come back. Nobody is actually attracted to the person who can't live without them. It sounds like a fairy tale, and it's in all the great movies. It's in Titanic, it's in Last of the Mohicans. But the truth is, we don't want to be with somebody that has made us the center of their every being, all their purpose, all their meaning. It's not attractive. Worship is obnoxious. I mean, it's a little bit flattering at first, but more times than I can count, I've seen somebody break up with somebody that worshiped them to be with somebody that's a challenge. And you want to legitimately build up and remind yourself of your identity, your purpose, your passion of life outside of them. So when they come back, you don't accidentally flood them with an obnoxious sense of, I can't live without you. I'm so happy you came back. Can we make sure that we set things up now so we never have to risk being broken up again? I've had people actually tell me that they told their ex that. When they came back, I said, I never want to lose you again. So can we set up counseling and make these promises to each other so I never have to even be afraid of losing you again? That's extremely unattractive. So you not only want to convince your ex that you're strong enough to live without them, remind them of the value, remind them of the exceptional things about yourself, remind you too. And if you're in a panic state, and silence will create panic, it'll create something worse than hysteria sometimes. But if you can survive it, understand what you're feeling and why, and decide not to trust what that panic's telling you, use the silence as a chance to reframe, rebuild, and re-reveal yourself as the 2.0. Because 99% of the time, your ex, if it was any kind of a meaningful relationship, is going to have that fear that, what if I made the wrong decision? What if I'm going to regret walking away from that person for the rest of my life? They're going to look at you, social media, through friends. They're going to try to do their homework and find out if walking away from you was a mistake. When they look, when they peek at you, no pun intended, when they do peek over at you to see what you've been doing and who you've become since the breakup, you want to be the strongest version of yourself. That instinctively triggers reattraction. It's not a choice. It's not a conscious decision. It's ego. It's instinct. It's human nature. A lot of the pain you're feeling right now is because you got rejected by somebody you didn't see it coming from, and it shook you. And the fact that it shook you made you focus on it even more. So you can have those principles work in your favor too. So sometimes silence is not the final nail in the coffin that it seems like. Take the silence and use it. It's a valuable tool if you know how to look at it. But I know every situation is different. So if I can help, you can find me at realcoachken.com. If this has been any kind of help to you, please give me a like, a share, a subscribe. I don't talk about that a lot, but I could actually use the sharing. So I appreciate it a lot. And I'll be back again soon. Thanks.